And we're back. This time we're talking about the NBA here as the NBA is back. In fact, after a little break there for a little NBA Cup action. But have no fear. We're going to talk a whole lot of props here. If you missed the NBA, we're going to break down a few of these games. We're going to hear from the contrarian gods. And we're going to do it with two of our favorites here at WagerTalk as we welcome in the prop god, Mr. Andy Lang, back in the saddle again. And so is Mr. Vino, Rob Vino, ready to go here on a loaded NBA slate here tonight, guys. And we're going to start with the contrarian gods who have decided that they are going to look at the LA Clippers here tonight. I guess that isn't a big shock given the fact that we know Luka's not playing in this game here tonight, which could make it very difficult for the Mavericks to get anything done. Although we've seen this before with the Mavs, they seem to do a pretty good job without him. But Clippers, what are we thinking? I believe, Rob Vino, you tell me, Kyrie questionable to play still as well. So no Luka, but Kyrie questionable, Vino?
Yeah, it's what we're looking at right now, Joe. Totals obviously dropped in this particular instance. I know we're talking contrarian, which means side, but just figure I'll point out that the total is down to 223. Dallas, for what it's worth, guys, playing extremely fast this year. Number 6 tempo. Last 5 games, inside the top 10 overall this year. So it's definitely a contrast in styles. LA would rather be defensive-minded and bring it up slow. We know how James Harden operates. And for the Mavericks, they'd like to push a little bit, especially when Luka is not in the game. They'll push even quicker if you get Kyrie. I would have to lean probably Clippers here, guys. The number's been reduced all the way from 7 to 4, which isn't quite as much as you would like, but still with the absence of Luka and the way LA has been playing as of late, especially on the defensive end, I think I like that side. Big game out of the box here. Teams have had a lot of time off, so it's kind of hard this first day back when you've had this amount of time off because of the cup play. Games have been very sporadic for these teams, and so you just don't know what's rust and what's rest. I would think for the Clippers side, the more veteran side, that rest is probably helpful here in this case. So I'm going to go against the contrarian gods, I guess. Joe, I'd love to get on there with the Dallas Mavericks and be on their side, but I haven't had too many opportunities to let them try and strike me down. So let's let them try tonight.
Oh, I like it. All right. So we're going against the contrarian gods here, and we're going to be looking towards the Dallas Mavericks here. What are you thinking there, Andy? Is with Luka not in there, do we have a clear-cut guy that we should be looking at maybe in the prop betting market, or what do you think we should do in this one?
Yeah, I agree with Rob about some of these teams are really going to benefit from the rest. Remember last year, the Pacers and the Lakers they were terrible after the cup. They weren't just bad. They were terrible after the cup game. And then you saw some of the teams this year kind of didn't look like they really wanted a whole lot to do with going to Vegas and playing in there. So I'm looking at a team like the Clippers, actually, and the Mavericks probably could have used the rest. They're still not getting Luka back, so the points got to come from somewhere. And I'm looking at Klay Thompson. I think as a guy could benefit from the rest. Some of these older guys, they got his point total at 16.5. He's had 29, 19, and 20 in his last 3 games. So I like his form. And then this prop is not available everywhere. I'm sure they're waiting on Spencer Dinwiddie, but. They're waiting on Kyrie's news, but a couple books have Spencer Dinwiddie over 6.5 points. He had no points last game, miserable shooting night, but before that, he'd flown over in 11 straight games, and he's gone over that total in every game that he's played without Luka. So I would take a look at Spencer Dinwiddie if we get that available at books and we get some Kyrie news.
Harden 3-point prop, says Nate G103 on Instagram, over 3.5. Looking for Harden maybe to steal one here tonight with the Clippers. The contrarian gods think it's very possible with maybe an outright win. I've also seen a couple of guys talking about PJ Washington getting going here tonight with no Luka in the lineup. Also team totals To your point, Vino, you mentioned the total for the game down, but also the team totals look to be cruising down as well. 114.5 right now for Dallas, I think Big Daddy says, somewhere in that ballpark. Definitely don't see the Clippers being in a rush to run up and down the court in this one. But the contrarian gods, they still like the Clippers in this one here. Now, a couple of good featured games on the NBA slate here tonight. We're going to start where else? With the Cat revenge game. Can you even call it revenge when you didn't win squadouche with the team you left? I don't know. Andy, I'm just, call it crazy here. You got Minnesota at home taking on the New York Knicks here. The return of one Karl Anthony Towns. Boy, it just feels like everyone and their mom, Andy, is just going to run right to the window and try to bet Karl Anthony down props here. I don't know if that's a good thing. That's a bad thing. It sounds or could be disastrous for him. But what do we think here? I mean, do we like the home team? Do we like the Knicks? And who do you like better for props in this game?
Well, I love when sometimes you have these revenge situations, and it's like oh no, Julius Randle, oh no, Karl Anthony Towns, anything but that revenge spot. If you're going to bet Karl Anthony Towns, I would look at something maybe with his rebounds or with his assist. I mean, his rebounds is 13.5, and that's a high total, but man, he is averaging a ton of rebounds. He's averaging 19.3 rebound chances. So he's just involved a lot, 22, 19, 15, 16, 15, and 19 in his last few games. I'm actually going to take the under on Julius Randle on his points, rebounds, and assists. It is at 30.5, and he's just coming up a little bit short, 18, 29, 29, 29, 28, 26, 25 in his last few. I don't know. Maybe he gets up a few extra shots, but I just don't think that he's a guy that's going to be too hard for this Knicks team to slow down. They're second best at guarding this position for points, ninth best for rebounds, sixth best for assists. So these power forwards just do not get a lot of stats. This is a good defense against this position. Other positions, there's going to be a lot of opportunities for Minnesota, but I would lean Julius Randle come up just a little bit short.
So looking for Julius to come up maybe just a little bit short, but the defense of Minnesota against this Knicks offense, Rob, feels like there's your winner. Who does it? Can Minnesota limit this offense of the New York Knicks? I mean, they have been their big turnaround here over the last month. It's been all about defense with Minnesota until they could figure some things out offensively. What do we think? Are they going to be able to limit this offense and keep this thing close enough to get an outright win?
Yeah, it dates back to the Sacramento game, Joe, where they got beat and Anthony Edwards took it upon himself to call the team out and tell them to get back to playing defense. And not only to play defense, Joe, but to play it every single possession, every single minute, all 48 minutes, that this team wasn't going to go anywhere unless these guys all decided to do that. And since then they have. What's interesting about this stretch, 6 of their last 7 games, they haven't allowed 100 points. They haven't allowed 93 points in 6 of their last 7 games, 92 or less in all of those. The only team that got them was Golden State. But what's crazy about that stretch is it's really all against 3 teams. It's against the Lakers, it's against the Clippers, it's against the Warriors. Like, they played multiple games against those 3 teams during this stretch. Now you get a different offense. You get the Knicks, who aren't necessarily playing the same type defense. Now, they've played it fairly well against lesser opposition. I question the Knicks defense a little bit, especially on the perimeter. So we'll see how this goes. But I would tend to back Minnesota in this particular instance. They have shown, Joe, that even though they're not scoring big, that they can win by big margin because they're holding the other side down to such a low amount of points. Knicks somewhat dependent upon perimeter shooting. I think that the interior belongs to Minnesota in this particular case. So rim defense is big on the Minnesota side. I think Minnesota is probably the right way to go here. And total, maybe even the better way to go, because all Minnesota does right now is play unders. They've slowed their pace. They've stuck to their defense, tightened the screws on opponents. So For me, my first look would probably be under in that game.
Yeah, I don't hate either of those looks there. Let me ask you a question, Ravi. Andy, does Dante DiVincenzo, is he still in the league? I don't know. I'm just asking. Nick's really got the bad end of that deal.
Great. I thought he was going to be great. I thought, what a great pickup. I don't know what happened. I don't know.
Wow.
You're right. I haven't heard that name mentioned. When you said it, I was like, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I guess it's his revenge game, too, isn't it? Good Lord. We got a lot of people on the court tonight looking for revenge. I don't know. That's going to be just terrible. This thing could be first one to 80 wins. All right. So that is one of the games that we have kept an eye on in this on this card here tonight. Another one is another fascinating public. It's got to be a pros versus Joe spot here because the line movement has been over the top. You got Orlando at home getting 6.5 now. I'm seeing. I saw it open at 5.5 this morning. It's 6.5. I see a ton of tickets being written on OKC, who just got, well, they got their ass handed to them, to be completely honest, against the Milwaukee Bucks here. Didn't shoot it well at all. Now it looks like, well, the public is betting OKC, but Orlando is interesting in this spot here. So, Andy, give me a name or two here from a prop betting perspective on who we should be looking at. Are we looking for bounce-back efforts from OKC? Do we think the Orlando has enough to be able to keep this thing close? What do you do in this game?
I'm just staying away from OKC bets. I'm also staying away from Milwaukee bets. Just from what we saw last year with what happened with the Lakers and the Pacers, I just think there's so many better betting opportunities. So I'm going to take a wait and see approach with OKC. I mean, they're young. They are experienced. They've got talent. I mean, just, at every single position. So you probably just chalk it up to one bad game, but hopefully for them it doesn't, turn into a slump. The only thing I would be looking at playing is our guy, Moritz Wagner, to have a three-pointer. It's juicy, but, I mean, the guy, he hits one every single game. It's 15 out of the last 19 games. He hit 4. He was 4 or 7 in his last game. And if they get down, he's going to be firing away. He's getting a lot of minutes now that, with all the injuries that they have to this team, he's almost up to 20 minutes, he's almost up to 20 minutes per game. And he's averaging 2.6 attempts. But like I said, that's increased over the last few games. He's getting 3 and, like I said, 7 in the last game. Honestly, to stay away, there's better games. But if you're playing if you have to play a player prop in this one for whatever reason, it's Wagner over his threes.
Vino, I mean, we saw 5.5. It's now 6.5. We're seeing all the tickets coming in on OKC, and we're also seeing the total, actually. I saw 209.5, now up to 210.5. So it looks like they're pushing the total. Is it a letdown spot for OKC, Vino, or do we trust them to bounce back in a big way and just demolish this Orlando team?
Well, I would think, just my line of thinking from that situational point of view, Joe, that you would want to be on Oklahoma City here. Young team. I don't know that they'll hang their heads. The depth is there for them. They play a certain style, and they seem to recover pretty quickly in most instances. But as Andy said, we've got 1 year's worth of history with this cup tournament, and it didn't go well for the two teams that made the finals the first time around. So we'll see if it happens the same way this time around. I think the problem for Oklahoma City here, and this again, such a contrast. I think if I were, and I don't play props for the most part, if I were looking, and it's kind of hard to look this direction because there's so many options, but OKC's weakness showed up in that Milwaukee championship game for the Emirates Cup, and they just don't have enough guys on the boards. Isaiah Hartenstein is nice, but he has to do an awful lot and play an awful lot of minutes. When Chet Holmgren gets back, it's going to make a difference for sure. But right now, it's kind of a one-man band underneath, and Orlando's just got a host of bigs. They march them in, one right after the other. I don't know which one you would play a rebound prop total with tonight, but you certainly have your choice between Wendell Carter, between Jonathan Isaac, Batadze, Mo Wagner, all these guys. And add to it the fact that Tristan da Silva, the rookie, is the highest rated defensive player for rookies so far this season. So Orlando wants to play it a little bit different while their stars are still out. They want to kind of beat you up on the interior. OKC wants to play fast and from the perimeter. And Orlando doesn't defend the three real well, guys. So I know off air, Andy was talking a little bit about OKC threes tonight. They were miserable, 16% in their last game. You would think there's some kind of bounce back there, which makes this game, it's an analytics dream, I guess, right? You got one team that should be able to score threes against another team that should be able to score twos. That would lead you to OKC. If I had to, Joe, I would play it that way, but Oklahoma City just has such trouble with these teams on the interior that can get on the glass. And Orlando is, we know they're going to give you 48 full minutes. They could stay close. I can't argue the folks that have bet this thing over, because I think both of those offensive advantages that I just described, one on the inside, one from the perimeter, probably both succeed here. So maybe the over is the right way to look.
Feels like Suggs is going to have a hard time here tonight, too, with Caruso and Lou Dort. And while it just feels like just a bad matchup in a lot of different ways here for this Orlando team. So, listen, the line is moving towards OKC, 6.5 right now. But to Rob's point, the total is creeping up here a little bit, 210.5. I see a lot of guys talking about team totals maybe. Big Daddy likes the over 108.5 with the OKC team total. They can't shoot much worse than they did against the Milwaukee Bucks, but Orlando's not going to be a picnic, but winning by double digits is two different things here. So we'll see if they can get it in a bounce back spot here tonight. If not, Orlando, pretty profitable dog on the card if that's the way you're going to look. Don't forget, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Shout out to Nate G103. He don't like the Suggs prop either. And I don't blame you there. I think it's going to be a tough matchup for him tonight with those long athletic wings they're going to be throwing at him all night long. Also, shout out to TikTok, you guys hanging out with us there. Shout out to those knockout in the chat room there over on YouTube Shorts. So we appreciate you guys on this Thursday and a loaded slate in the NBA. Now let's have some fun and talk our overtime segment. And we'll focus on the total here. And why not? Because it's the biggest one on the board. And believe it or not, it's being bet under. What? Yes. Can you believe it? A Chicago Bulls game that people are actually putting money on the under. 243.5 is what it opened at. I'm seeing 241.5 right now in this one. Celtics still laying 2 touchdowns or a little more than 2 touchdowns right now at the Garden there in Boston. Andy, still 241 points is what we're looking at, which means there's got to be some props in this one too as well, no?
Yeah, if they get close to this, there's going to be a handful of guys flying over their totals. So we got to narrow it down a little bit. And I'll just go back to the one that's been cashing all season. That's Vucevic, over 1.5 made 3-pointers. Yeah, he's been really good. 18 of 26 games, he's cashed this bet. He did it earlier this year against Boston. He had 6 in that game, actually. And yeah, I mean, this is the second highest paced team this season, Chicago. And we know Boston's going to shoot 1 million 3-pointers. So Chicago needs to keep up. I would expect a lot of 3-pointers coming from Chicago. So let's hit this in, 6 out of the last 7 games. And his attempts are way up this year. He's averaging 4.6 attempts, and his percentage is really good. He's shooting 44.8. I believe that's a career best for him. So this has been a really good prop. It's only minus 130. So I would definitely recommend looking at this one.
The dude is shooting 47.5% from 3, Andy. What is going on here, right?
He's been great. He's been great. This isn't a small sample size either.
No.
That's the other thing. He's been doing it all year. He's been fantastic.
Seeing at least 2 3-pointers in 10 of his last 12 games. God damn. in a total at 241, guess what? It's going to be raining threes here tonight, Vino, and I can't imagine trying to sweat out an under, but that's where the market is going. Are you seeing health-wise something we need to be concerned with here, Vino? Why are you looking at the under, you think?
Well, Porzingis probably doesn't go again, and now Giddey is questionable, right? They're even quicker when Josh Giddey is in the game. It's interesting, Joe. Boston's team total for the game opens up at 130.5. What are we talking about here? 130.5. It's a partial credit to the fact that Chicago wants to go fast, has gone fast all season long, like Andy pointed out, and partial credit to the fact that Chicago plays no defense on the other end and Boston can score. I went through these overs and tried to find one where you could find some actual value. And I think the best number and the best way to search is for the Chicago first half team total. Now, the Bulls are averaging a little over 58 points per first half. Here they're listed at only 54.5. So you certainly have some wiggle room there. It's a game where, again, it's probably going to be a track meet. Boston's not going to shy away from going fast with Chicago because they know they can outscore them. And Boston's a huge output first half team as well. The first half total combined is just so high. So like I said, you're looking at all these numbers that are in the stratosphere, and you're trying to find the one that's actually placed in a reasonable spot. And I think it's the Bulls team total over. So if you're looking for one way to play the over, I would suggest that. Chicago should be able to get to 55. They might give up 75, but they'll be able to get to 55, I think.
Oh, they're definitely going to give up their share of points here. Yeah, over. And a big time, maybe first half Boston look there, Vino. What do you think? I mean, Boston usually handles second quarter, I believe, is it? Their second quarter dominance this season is over the top. Maybe start a little slow, but they just absolutely destroy teams in the second quarter. And that number is probably through the roof.
Well, they're looking at 64. You got to get to 65 to win the bet, which is not unreasonable for Boston by any stretch of the imagination. You know, if there's one asset, Joe, that the Bulls defense, which stinks, that they do have, they're number 7 in three-point field goal percentage allowed. So actually their three-point defense is top tier. Boston's a three-point shooting team. So we'll see which comes out on top there. But to your point, to ask Boston to get over 64 is not unreasonable whatsoever against this type of team and this type of or amount of chances, opportunities that you're going to get to score.
Yeah, I think this is going to be an interesting one here tonight. Chicago Bulls at the Boston Celtics here. All right, guys, we got to that time of the day here where, of course, we're going to take a look at a same-game parlay of Andy's. Andy's been doing great with these on the show this year. He is going to look at an SGP in the Lakers and Sacramento Kings game. Andy, what are you looking at in this one?
Well, we're going to use the theory that rest is great for some of these older players, and I think LeBron would be maybe number one on the list of a guy who could have used a little break. So Lakers need to get something going. So we'll do a same game parlay where we'll start with LeBron to have 25 plus points. He's rested, should be full go, and he's gone over in 10 out of the last 11 games against Sacramento. He eats them for lunch. So let's take LeBron. LeBron's not playing defense this year, but he can still score. And I'm going to take the Lakers money line. Sacramento is supposed to be awesome. Their last 3 wins are the Pelicans, the Jazz, and the Spurs. And these two teams play back-to-back tonight and Saturday. I feel like that screams split. I feel like most of these teams end up splitting. So I'm getting Lakers at plus money for them to win tonight. And then D'Angelo Russell to have 2+ rebounds. He's had 3 or more rebounds in 4 straight games. He's gone over in 18 out of 25 games. And that gets us to plus 650. So just short of that 7-1 number that I'm aiming for. But it wouldn't surprise me if Lakers and LeBron come out playing well tonight.
Ooh, all right there. Plus 650, expecting LeBron after a little rest here to get it done against the Kings. All right, that means we've got best bet time here from the guys. Loaded slate, a lot of different places to look on the board here tonight. Rob Vino, we'll start with you here. Which one of these games piqued your interest? What are we looking at for a best bet?
Probably the one that piques nobody's interest, Joe. And let's just go to the top of the card and look at Utah and Detroit. And I'll play over 227, yes, which is a complete fade of both defenses. 4 of the last 5 games, the Utah Jazz have allowed 133, 141, 134, 144. 4 of the last 5 games, Detroit has allowed 128, 130, 123, and 124. It just looks like a score fest. Utah's off of a bad offensive game. They've been on this little seesaw lately, last 5 games, where they score real well, don't score real well, don't score. They're in that score real well game here. The Detroit defense doesn't put up much resistance whatsoever. So to me, 227, you're asking these teams to get to 114 each. I don't see anything wrong with that. If you wanted to narrow it down to one team total or the other, I would not argue you there either. But for me, I'm looking now at 227.5. My notes had 227, so it's raised. It's up a little half a point from when I first checked it. But I still think this thing's headed for 230 plus.
Oh, I'm expecting some points in that one there. Jazz taking on the Pistons. And Andy, so we got a same game parlay out of you. How about a best bet tonight? Where are you looking on the card for us?
I am so proud of Rob for breaking down the Pistons game.
Yes.
I'm so proud of you, Rob. That was great. That was so unexpected. That's why he's the best, folks. Get your Pistons Jazz breakdown here. I'm going to Denver. I'm going to take Michael Porter Jr. over 8.5 rebounds and assists. He's been an absolute monster for this one. He's hit this in, 11 out of 12 games. He's landing right on 9. But he's getting over there. His rebounds are up, and hallelujah, he's actually passing the ball. He's actually getting assists. That was kind of one of the jokes. Like last year, like Michael Porter's assist number was like 1.5. It was like, does this guy ever pass? Does he ever set anybody up? But his potential assists are sitting at 4, and he's being a little bit active. And I mean, some of these guys have to do something to take a little bit of the pressure off of Jokic. So I expect Michael Porter to, keep his name is being brought up in trade rumors involving Jimmy Butler. I don't think that they're going to get there in that, but I like Michael Porter Jr. moving forward to keep hitting this rebounds and assist number.
We're going to get it done with Michael Porter Jr. here tonight. Again, guys, plenty of opportunities on the card here tonight in the association. A couple of great opportunities for you to be able to partner up with both of these guys or your favorite handicapper at WagerTalk.com. Just go ahead, get an all-access package for January. You'll get the remaining couple of weeks here in December for free. That's a great deal given all of the NFL action coming up, plus the playoffs, and, of course, the college football, not to mention college basketball. And we all know the NBA season doesn't really start till Christmas anyway. In fact, Andy, I am fairly certain after you just cashed another darts winner that you gave out on Wager Talk today earlier, again, cha-ching. We actually couldn't start this show until that dart tournament cashed for us. What do you got locked and loaded tonight, in fact, at your page at Wager Talk?
That is a true story. We watched our darts play cash, and then we started the NBA show.
That's correct.
That's a real thing that happened. That's 11-2 now at the PDC World Championships. We just keep bringing in more and more units. We had a really nice 4% win in college football last night. So bowl season is off and running. 10-4 in our last 14 NHL plays. 11-2 in our last 13 darts plays. Get an all-access pass. I love that special where if you buy the month of January, you get the rest of December. This darts tournament, these plays are all available on all your books. Everyone has access to them. This goes into January. January 3rd is the finals. So we have weeks of plays for these to cash. And don't forget, golf starts January 2nd. I can't believe golf season is 2 weeks away. So this is a perfect time to jump on board. We are number 1 the last 2 years. Nobody's brought in more units since January 1st, 2023 than we have. We're number 3 this year in units. We're number 5 last year. We're up over 200 units the last 2 years. Could not be more proud of the work that myself and the team has done. So take advantage of this. We can help build your bankroll. WT.buzz/AL.
Rob Vino, What are you thinking here, my man? I know you're locked and loaded, whether it be the bowl games coming up here, plenty of NBA action, college hoops. I thought of you earlier on a college basketball show as we had to review Belmont tonight because it was the one of the only games actually worth looking at on an 18-game college basketball slate. But what do you have locked and loaded for everyone over at WagerTalk.com?
Well, first, as soon as we're done here, I'm going to leave this office, head to my rec room, and try and land that triple 20 so Andy can bet on me in a darts match at some point in time.
Yes.
Belmont fond memories, Joe. They got to love those games there at the Michael Curb Center. It's a good basketball team. But as far as tonight goes, we have NFL. We have college football bowl game action available as well. Top play from the NBA, up. Huge NBA schedule. We only touch the tip of the iceberg where that's concerned. And then heading into the weekend, 4% best bet tomorrow from college football action, 4% best bet Saturday. Those two are already loaded. So go ahead and check it out. At this time of year, as you know, the plays come fast and furious. We're going to be under this football avalanche for the next 2-3 weeks here. So go ahead and check it out. You see the address right there, wt.buzz/RV.
Get it done here, guys, tonight. Plenty of opportunities. Again, don't forget to hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Become part of that Wager Talk TV family. If you missed any of Wager Talk today, guys, you can check out that replay. The link is in the description. I would definitely do it as Andy gave out a boatload of other props in the association tonight. On the show, our boy Ross Benjamin also was on the show. He gave out another NBA game that he loved here tonight as a best bet. That's available. Plenty of content here for you guys to be able to make it a very profitable Thursday night as we get ready to head into a Friday with our first college football playoff game with Indiana and Notre Dame. Lot going on here, needless to say. So certainly hope you guys will come back and join us again tomorrow. We get to do it all over again. Shout out Big Daddy, Titan CT, Have Cash, FB Coach 13 in the house, Desmond Castro here. Shout out to our boy Nate G103, who was all over Cade and his 2.5 3-point prop up and over tonight in that Detroit game, which would bode very well for Rob's over in that one. Looking to get Cade Cunningham to have a big night there. Appreciate the time as always, guys. We got plenty of action here. We'll do it all again tomorrow on Wager Talk TV. Until then, cash those tickets. We'll see you again.